Hey guys, what if I told you that there was a law that protected you from the very beginning of your natural life to the very end of your natural life? Protected you from harm. What would you say about that? Would you agree with that or would you disagree with that? Well, that's what's happening here in the state of North Carolina. North Carolina is trying to pass a bill to protect life from the very moment of conception. Let's take a look at what's going on, shall we?
Story, a proposed bill that would ban abortions in North Carolina, make an abortion first-degree murder, and even allow someone to kill to prevent an abortion from happening.
Okay, so let's stop it right there. She said make an abortion a first-degree murder. Okay, because that makes sense here, right? Because what are you doing? It's kind of premeditated murder, right? You're premeditating to take a pill or go to a quote-unquote doctor or quote-unquote professional or quote-unquote healthcare to kill a baby that is inside you, right? Because if you don't go to that person or take that pill or what have you, you are going to have a baby, right? We all know that, which is why you go and have an abortion, right? Or termination, have we say. So that is like premeditated murder. You could go to jail for murder for that case. But she also said kill somebody for that. So I think what she's stating is first degree murder is what is actually written inside the document, inside the bill that we're talking about right here. So in that case, maybe capital punishment is on the line if you commit an abortion or have someone commit an abortion. Right? Okay, let's continue with the article here.
WECT's Mackenzie Bruns has more on the proposal tonight. Mackenzie, this bill is getting some serious pushback.
That's right, Fran. Pro-choice advocates speaking out tonight. Even one of the bill's original sponsors has dropped their support for the bill. House Bill 1232 would recognize life at fertilization, meaning the very second a woman gets pregnant.
Okay, so she said right there, the moment from fertilization. So from fertilization is the moment you get pregnant, right? The sperm going inside the egg and being conceived is what we would call it. Let's look up really quick the definition of conceived. So even Google of all people here recognized conception is the process where a sperm fertilizes an egg to create a zygote, marking the beginning of pregnancy. It involves a male and female genetic material in the fallopian tube, which then implants into the uterus to develop into an embryo, which creates a baby, right? Okay, so this is really quick. So the fertilization is the first step of pregnancy. Okay, we can agree with that.
Would ban abortions of any kind. It also says someone who gets an abortion or someone who helps them obtain one could face attempted or first-degree murder charges. The proposed...
Okay, so that's what I'm talking about there. Attempted or first-degree murder charges. Does that constitute capital punishment in the state of North Carolina? I believe that's what they're referring to when they say the ability to kill somebody. Not someone from on the street. Hey, you got an abortion, I'm going to kill you. No, that's what they're trying to make it sound like, to try to make it sound absurd and to sound like there's a huge uproar. But no, this is for the people who are for abortion that are in an uproar, not the people who are for life, okay? So let's get that straight first.
Bill even allows for deadly force to be used against someone seeking an abortion. That language proved too much for bill co-sponsor Representative Ben Moss. He pulled his support via this statement saying, in part, quote, after further discussion and feedback from constituents and members of the community, I have decided to remove myself as a sponsor of House Bill 1232 in its current form. I just spoke to Representative Deb Butler from New Hanover County about the bill. Here was part of her reaction.
It is designed to fight a culture war. I don't think anybody really takes it very seriously, but these are the types of pieces of legislation that you do have to watch carefully because the unintended consequences could be broad sweeping and very, very severe.
Okay, so what are the unintended consequences? Unintended consequences are what? Who having a baby? Who are they worried about having babies? Why are they so worried about having babies? Why is this such a severe consequence of not killing babies?
The bill is a constitutional amendment, meaning if it were to pass the General Assembly, voters would have the ultimate say in November. We'll keep you updated on where the bill goes from here.
Okay, so as she just said, this is a constitutional amendment. So this will actually go into the Constitution of the state of North Carolina, either allowing or making illegal abortion in the entire state. Okay, so it's not a federal law that was overturned already. Roe versus Wade, we already know that. So this is a state law, state legislation for the state of North Carolina. And ultimately, the people are the ones who are going to decide here if abortion is legal or not legal. So they're making a huge stink about this and trying to sway people to vote one way or the other way, which, as we can see here, they're trying to make them sway for abortion. Look, even here on the screen, you can see, look, the state of North Carolina is painted in what color? Blue. Do you think they just chose that coincidentally? I don't think so. Look at the people in the background. Stop abortion, healthcare. Abortion is healthcare. Yeah, right. Okay. So look at their propaganda here that they're using in this news article and tell me what you think they're trying to do to persuade the constituents of North Carolina. Okay, so now that we watched that crazy media post here, that we saw the crazy news segment, let's get into the bill. And I want to show you the quick wording of the bill. It's a very short bill, actually, but let's take a look at that right here. It is Bill General Assembly of North Carolina, Section 2025, House Bill 1232. And so this is written on May 14th, 2026, right? And I just go and look at that bill if you'd like to, right? But I just want to get to this part. I want to read this section here. Section 39, life begins at fertilization. It is a matter of indisputable scientific fact that a distinct and separate human life begins at the moment of fertilization. As such, the new human life is recognized by the state as an individual person. Okay, so this is saying here, from the moment the baby is conceived, that is a human being in the female's belly. Okay, that's what they're stating here in the bill. Let's get back to it. Entitled to the protection of the laws of this state from the moment of fertilization until the moment of natural death. So just like any other human being out there, if someone goes and commits a crime against you, against me, tries to hurt anybody, there's consequences to pay. Right? So what is the difference if there's a human being inside your belly and you try to hurt that baby? That would be murder, right? If you try to kill me, that would be attempted murder, right? So that's what the law is saying, that this is a human being inside the belly. It's recognizing that this is a human being inside the belly and it's growing. A human being is growing. The stages of life starts in the womb at conception. And if you hurt the baby, there are consequences subject to the law. Any person who willfully seeks to destroy the life of another person by any means at any stage of life, including the early stages of life inside the womb, or succeeds in doing so, shall be held accountable for attempted murder or first-degree murder, respectively. Any person has the right to defend his or her own life or the life of another person, even by the use of deadly force if necessary, from willful destruction of another person. Okay, so that possibly is the wording right there that they're speaking about, possibly by the use of deadly force, but I'm pretty sure that's by the government's use of deadly force. So obviously, if you have common sense, they are letting the baby be birthed, let the baby have its birthday, right? And then consequences shall entail, right? If necessary, from willful destruction by another person. The state has an interest in the duty to defend innocent persons from willful destruction of their lives and to punish those who take the lives of persons, born or unborn, who have not committed any crime punishable by death. Okay, so there you have it. That is the Constitution here. In the news article, they made this seem like this is a one-off thing, that, oh, no other states are denying healthcare, are denying abortion healthcare. Well, let's take a look at the states that do accept abortion and that do not, and even the states in between. Let's just look at the map here. This is from Planned Parenthood, okay? So you see the white all the way down to dark red, okay? There are many different stages here. So look, like California, obviously, there are no restrictions. From the day before the baby is born, you're allowed to have an abortion, right? No restrictions whatsoever. So all these white areas are very few restrictions. Possibly you have to have your parent involved, right? Okay, but it's very few to no restrictions in those areas. Let's look at the pink. Let's see here. Abortion ban after 20 weeks. So 20 weeks is what? How long is a pregnancy? About 40 weeks, right? Okay, we're gonna look at that here in a moment, but just recognize that here, 20 weeks, that's the halfway point of the baby being born. Okay, so the baby is halfway grown inside the belly, okay, before its birth. That's 20 weeks. Halfway born baby right here. Let's take a look at more restricted. Let's look at New Hampshire here. So also bans after 20 weeks. The following abortion restrictions are currently in effect. Okay, parental notification, all that. Okay, so these are mostly going to be all the same. All the pink states are mostly going to be the same. Let's just verify a little bit here. Another pink state, Virginia. Okay, abortion, parent involvement. Okay, so we see that. Now let's get into the red states, the light red. Okay, abortion after 20 weeks, exchange insurance coverage prohibited, parental involvement. Okay, let's make sure here. 20 weeks, a couple more, 24-hour waiting period. Okay, a couple more rules there. Ohio, let's see. Basically the same there, yeah? Okay, now let's get into the red. That would be Utah. 17 weeks and 6 days. That's kind of specific there, right? That's at a certain trimester, I believe. What trimester is that? Let me know in the comments if you know exactly what trimester that is. And then you get down to the severely restricted, which is these southern states, mostly the southern states. Let's look at North Carolina, 12 weeks and 6 days. So it's already in that situation where it's already banned after 12 weeks. They're just trying to make it a permanent ban where it's completely illegal to have an abortion. It's already banned after 12 weeks and 6 days. You cannot have an abortion anymore. It's illegal. They're just trying to further that up until the moment of conception. You understand? Also, exchange insurance coverage prohibited, parental consent required, 72 hours waiting period. Okay, let's look at Georgia. 6-week ban. I believe Florida is the same. 6-week ban. Let's take a look at that. Yep, 6-week ban. And now let's go into eliminated these states here. Abortion is completely null and void. You cannot get an abortion here in these states, okay? So now that we looked at the states that can and cannot, now you have a better idea of that. So let's look at the term limits that they allow and don't allow abortions at. All these states, they have certain weeks that you're allowed and not allowed to get an abortion, okay? Let's just have a quick look here. Okay, so what happens during the first 8 weeks of pregnancy? So Florida, North Carolina, and the lower southeast section of the United States is all 6-week ban for the most part. So let's take a look at 1 to 8 weeks of pregnancy. The brain and spine begin to form, cardiac tissue starts to develop, muscles of the eyes, nose, and mouth form, webbed fingers, toes poke out from developing hands and feet. The lungs start to form and tubes will carry, and you're starting to have muscles, the eyes, nose, and mouth. You're starting to have senses, right? The inner ear begins to develop. Hearing, you're starting to have all your senses, okay? Already at 1 to 8 weeks. Look how early that is, 1 to 8 weeks. So at 11 weeks, the next state you're allowed to have an abortion is the cartilage of the limbs and hands and feet start to grow, but the bones are still weak. Eyelids are formed, but they still don't open yet. The genitals, so you start to know what sex your baby is, either male or female, right? The liver begins, so your internal organs, your kidney, your pancreas, your fingernails, little details like your fingernails here, right? Okay, at 9 to 12 weeks, 9 to 12 weeks. Now, most of the other ones here are 20 weeks, okay? So halfway through your birth cycle here, right? Let's look at 20 weeks. What's going on here at 20 weeks? So at 20 weeks, the part of the brain that controls motor movement is fully formed. So at 20 weeks here, you're already becoming agile a little bit here, right? You're already moving around. You understand a little bit what's going on. You have your senses. Now you're starting to put everything together here, right? Part of the brain that controls The motor movements is fully formed. Digestive system is working, so you're eating and digesting food here. Ear, nose, and lips are recognizable in ultrasound. And girls, the uterus and the vagina are starting to form. So now, not only can you tell what sex, they're like forming the sex here of the child here, what it's going to be. Soft, downy hair called lanugo starts to form and cover the body. So you're already starting to get hair on your body here at 20 weeks, halfway through the process here of growing in the belly. All right, so now we already looked at all the way up through 20 weeks of pregnancy. Let's just look at a couple more stages here of the pregnancy and find out what's going on. And up to those moments, all those people that are still aborting, what they are aborting here. Let's just take a quick look here. So 21 to 24 weeks, your kicks and turns are stronger. So you're already starting to move around. Your fat is forming under the skin. The sucking reflex is developing. So you're like breathing out of your mouth a little bit. Ridges in the hand and feet. Later are fingerprints and footprints. Skin is wrinkled and reddish from visible blood vessels. So you have blood vessels. You have blood and everything inside your veins. Basically, you have vessels for blood, right? 28 weeks, your lungs are fully formed. Your loud sounds can make your fetus respond with startled movements. So you get scared a little bit, right? Eyelids can now open and close. Lungs begin to make surfactant substance needed for breathing. Nervous system is developing. The skin begins to look smoother and more fat is added. So you're starting to look more. What happens during up to 32 weeks of pregnancy? And now your fetus, you can start to stretch, kick, grasp motion. So you're starting to like yawn, like stretch it out. Eyes can sense changes in light, so you know if it's light or dark, right? Bone marrow is forming and red blood cells. Head made small hair, so you have hair on your head. Your testicles have begun to descend, so you're already descending testicles if you're a boy. So this is like you're ready here at this point. You're just maturing here, right? Think of it like puberty, right? You're like still maturing, you know, but now you're like becoming a man, becoming a woman here at this point. You're choosing right here. Your body is like, okay, I'm a man, I'm a woman. Bones harden, so your fingernails, your bones, your limbs, right? Your fetus turns into a head down position, so you're starting to get ready for birth here. 37 to 40 weeks. Your circulatory system is done. Your musculoskeletal system also is done developing. Lungs, brain, and nervous system are finished. Your fat continues to be added all over to keep the baby warm after birth. So you're gonna get, yours is really cold. You start crying, screaming because you're cold. Just like when you get out of the pool, right? You're cold. So all the way from all of those moments here, your fingers, your bones, everything is there. It's all just getting stronger, right? And all those babies can still be aborted all the way up to here when you're just like getting your head down, getting ready to get sucked out of there. You can still be aborted in some states all the way up until those points. All right, so now let's take a look at, see what some of those descriptions look like, shall we? Okay, so this is 6 weeks here. So remember 6 weeks? 6 weeks, your cardiac tissue, your brains, you're forming, your eyes, nose, fingers. So like your basic details, see eyes, nose, fingers, right? You can see right here. It's like this starting to take shape a little bit, right? Let's go to 11 weeks here, which is the next one. So you have genitals beginning to form, limbs, hands, your liver, your kidney, your pancreas, your fingernails. Look at this. Looks like a baby to me. Looks like a baby to me already. 11 weeks. 11 weeks, and half of these states don't stop abortions until 20 weeks. And look at how you look right now. Okay, that's a baby. That looks like a baby to me. Okay, now let's go to 20 weeks. Okay, so now you have motor movements. So at 20 weeks, you have motor movements is fully formed. Digestive system is working. Ear, nose, and lips are recognizable in ultrasound exam. Your vagina is starting to form, right, in the females. And you have a hair all over your body. And at this point, people are still being aborted. Look at this. Look at that. Huh. Look at that. Being aborted, beautiful little baby, boy or girl. All right. So there you have it, guys. North Carolina is trying to make it illegal to kill anybody any human, any male, any female, anybody. They're trying to make it illegal to murder innocent human beings. So I know you got a lot of opinions about this. Go ahead and leave your comments. I'll see you guys in the next video.